And good morning. I'm Carol Costello. Thank you so much for joining me. Hillary Clinton plotting out a new strategy to comfort voters with trust issues. She's addressing those issues head on.
I understand that voters have questions. I'm going to do my very best to answer those questions. I think there's an underlying question that maybe is really in the back of people's minds, and that is, is she in it for us or is she in it for herself? I think that's, a question that people are trying to sort through. And I'm going to demonstrate that I've always been the same person, fighting for the same values, fighting to make a real difference in people's lives, long before I was ever in elected office, even before my husband was in the presidency.
So how does Clinton go about convincing voters she's in their corner, not just fighting for personal glory? Well, step one appears to be talk about we instead of me.
We are all in this together. We all have to do our part. We need you to be part of that exciting journey we can make together. With your help, that is the tomorrow we will build for our country.
So will the change in tone work? Joining me now to talk about this, Jamal Simmons, Democratic strategist and co-founder of Crate Incorporated, and Sally Kohn, Daily Beast columnist and CNN political commentator. Welcome to both of you. Sally, I'm just curious because I'm just trying to think if the same argument would work with Donald Trump, and if people would think he's all in it for him, and if they would fault him for that.
Well, look, I mean, there's no question that Hillary starts off with a sort of deficit in this area, and if it's because she's a well-known politician, if it's because of the different standards that women are judged against men, we can sort of speculate as to why that is. But Trump's a really interesting example, because apparently people think they trust him a lot because he just says whatever he thinks, even though most of the things he says are pretty outrageous and ridiculous, and it makes you think there's a sort of inverse relationship between trust and credentials to actually be a thoughtful, leaderful president of the United States. People should know that apparently, according to surveys, the most trustworthy person in America is Tom Hanks. And the president, or past president, who we trust the most, is Jimmy Carter. And I don't really see Democrats or Republicans clamoring for him to be president.
But
I think,
still,
this is a really, no, but I mean, this is sort of a reality TV show kind of issue to be bringing up as opposed to actual credentials for leadership.
Well, I think people really like Donald Trump because they want something different from the establishment, right? It has nothing to do with anything else, but it has everything to do with that. On the issue of trust, though, if you look at the entrance polls, rather, from the Nevada caucus, they show that just 12% of Democratic caucus goers say Clinton is trustworthy. So whether or not trust really matters when it comes right down to it, it seems to matter this time around, Jamal, or am I wrong? Because Hillary Clinton obviously is trying to do something about that.
It's a tricky question, this question of trust, because, the question is, do you trust someone to babysit your kids, or do you trust someone to hold your wallet while you go to the bathroom? Like, this thing about trust is different. I think when it comes to politicians, nobody trusts any politicians for the most part. But the question is, among the other people running, do I trust you enough to go into a room and advocate on behalf of me and my family and look out for me, even when I'm not watching? And I think that's the question that Hillary Clinton is trying to get to today by her talking about, it's an elephant in the room. Am I in this for me? Am I in this for you? And I'm going to show you that I'm in this for you. And if I'm on the campaign, I want to also find people who have benefited from Hillary Clinton's work for them. Maybe when she was in the Senate, maybe when she was in Arkansas. People who can get up and testify to the fact they were in need, they went to see Hillary Clinton, and she helped solve a problem for them.
So is her use of we effective, Sally? Because, Bernie Sanders talks like that all the time. He never says I.
Yeah,
he doesn't have a trust issue, by the way.
Well, no, but again, let's also bear in mind he's also far newer to the American public. And look, there's also a sort of optics to this. And I wasn't sort of being too glib when I said there's a reality TV sort of dimension that's entering American politics, which is that we seem to increasingly like our politicians to be less politician-y, right? And to sort of speak off the cuff and seem more real and authentic. And again, whether that's what you actually want in the White House and in positions of leadership is an interesting question. The other thing is, let's be clear. We're doing it right now. This is a story, this is a narrative that has been built up about Hillary Clinton, largely by the right, absorbed by Democrats in the mainstream, including her critics, and repeated by the media. And, you know, people believe Trump tells it like it is because they keep hearing from people like us that Trump tells it like it is, right? You know, we have to be careful in not sort of repeating these smears. And again, let's focus on the issues